So Sakura Wars has come to the US with its second entry being Sakura Wars. In Japan, it's known as Shin Sakura Taisen or Project Sakura Wars or Project Sakura Taisen. It is a continuation of what had previously come out before, being Sakura Wars 5, So Long My Love. You know, I understand the naming convention has a lot of people confused because some people may think that this is a reboot or this is a reimagining or this is, you know, a remake of the first entry, and honestly it's not any of that. It is a sequel. It is basically Sakura Wars 6 if you want to be, you know, correct. But you know, this game is it's a dating mech relationship building Muso style type of game, and I honestly, you know, going into it, I didn't think I was going to care for it. I thought this was going to be something that, you know, I'd play for a bit and that, you know, my wife would be more enjoying it than I would be. But I've been streaming it on Twitch, which, you know, if you haven't noticed, I stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and occasionally on Sundays. So check me out there, twitch.tv/Mekel Kasanova. Honestly, it's a game that really ensnared me. Like, I really got hooked, and my audience got hooked too. So with this review, this video, we're basically going to be covering Sakura Wars, a little bit of the history of it, this entry in particular, and why I honestly think this is a game you need and one that I don't think you should pass up because it's really that good. And I understand that maybe this may not be for you. This may be something different. A lot of people may write it off based off this anime aesthetic, shonen style look. But look, I'm telling you now, this game, it has a way of just slowly sneaking its claws into you, and you're gonna get hooked. But that's my point. I'm Mekel Kasanova, guys, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber, host of the /1 podcast in the state of Hawaii, the Kasanova Podcast. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and occasionally on Sunday on twitch.tv/Mekel Kasanova and on youtube.com/Mekel Kasanova. And yeah, I'm ready to dive into this review. And if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and roll the intro. 12 years after the events of Sakura Wars, So Long My Love, in the Taisho era 29, which is 1940, Sakura Wars starts a new arc in the series following the new protagonists Seijuro Kamiyama and Sakura Amiyama, and their quest to bring glory and prestige to the Floral Division's theater and combat sides of the combat review and fight against the emerging threat of the Kuma. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the story because so much is so easily spoiled, and I just don't want to do that. So that's as much as we're going to talk about. We're going to jump over from here to gameplay. So you may be wondering if Sakura Wars is an action adventure game or a dating sim or a mech fighter or a visual novel or all of the above. Well, honestly, it's all of the above and is in the category of being a cross-genre video game as it compiles aspects of each of these genres into a full-on experience. And it also has the honor of being the first Sakura Wars game not made by Red Entertainment, who in collaboration with Sega created the franchise. So I have to be honest here and admit that I've never in my life played a dating simulation style game. Well, unless you count Mass Effect's romancing options, which, fun fact, were actually inspired by Sakura Taisen or Sakura Wars, which the entire option of multiple choice within video games was inspired by the Sakura Taisen series. And, you know, with Sakura Wars being my first game doing this, like where it's specifically the core focus of the game, I had no idea what to expect or if I would even enjoy the game. Boy, was I in for a surprise. To say that I have come to love the gameplay here is as much an understatement as anything else that I probably ever say constantly on my streams, which if you want, you should check me out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and occasionally Saturday on twitch.tv/Mekel Kasanova. Cheap plug, I know, I had to get that out there. But anyway, it's an understatement because I was expecting a lot of mech battles and occasional relationship building, but I never thought of or knew that the game would be about 99% relationship building and about 1% mech battles. Yes, you heard me right. I did say that. It's 99% relationship building and 1% mech battles. And honestly, I'm fine with that because it just works. And honestly, look, your time is spent as Kamiyama is running around initially only in the theater doing various errands for Sumeri and the Flower Division as a whole. that range from delivering various items to becoming a giant elephant and raising morale and promoting the theater and more. As you progress through the game, you'll end up in situations or having to make decisions that are at times, when it comes to many characters, will either make them grow closer to you, or when it comes to the females, make them fall in love with you, remain neutral, or grow to detest you based on what you decide to do and or say. Now, I'll admit that a lot of the decision making will feel very abrupt and it will catch you off guard at times. And if you're like me and you hate making decisions in games that will give you bad outcomes, then you know what? You'll want to save more often than not, as anytime you interact with the character, you just never know what will happen. And if you mess up with certain characters, you'll probably soft lock yourself out of the better endings. There will be times when you'll have to do like one-on-one situations with any of the main female cast, and those situations can either make or break your chances of romancing them. These situations will turn the gameplay from a traditional third-person exploration-based game, similar to Persona, into a first-person point-and-click style visual novel, similar to Steins Gate. And, you'll have your cursor and you'll hover it over the girl that you're currently with, or the items in the environments that you're in, to continue on the dialogue and just pray that you don't mess up. These sections are so good because while Kamiyama, he gives you subtle hints in the form of his own thoughts, it is good because over the course of the game, you ultimately come to legitimately care about these characters and their motivations and more. They are so well written and brought to life that situations like Sakura's moments of self-doubt when it comes to her dreams and ambitions, and Claris's fear of her potential and insecurities, are things that I can definitely relate to on many levels. There will be times when you go to, you get to go on dates with the girls, and during these dates you have to remember things about the girls and to know what they like and how to respond to them, just like you would if you went on a real life date with a girl or a guy or anyone. These moments will include limited time sections to make selections for responses, as well as figuring out what you should or shouldn't be doing, because they affect the flow of the date and either will make the girl, as I said before, become closer to falling in love with you or ultimately friend zoning you or hating you. And the way that you know that the girl either likes or dislikes you will be based upon the pitch of the chime sound that is made after you make a selection. When it comes to combat, you will be in mechs that will allow you to fight demons and machines in what I can best describe as a mishmash of a Muso or warrior style combat mixed with the combat that's seen in games such as like Ys Lacrimosa of Dana. It plays similar to the Muso games because you can run around a map with enemies that will blockade you in a section and put you in a situation that has you versus, anywhere from 20, 30, 50 or more enemies at a time. You have buttons for jumping, swap characters, jet boosting, light attacks, heavy attacks, lock on, evade, and limit breaker style ultimate attacks, which is very similar to Ys and the Kiseki style in the fact that it gives you a cut-in animation before the devastating attack occurs. You're able to dodge and activate what looks like a flash guard from Ys 8 or Witch Time as in Bayonetta, which will slow down time for a brief moment, allowing you to get in and cause some major damage to your enemies when you perform the dodge right as the enemy attacks you. And you can also do double jumps, you can lock onto your enemies to better aim your attacks during combat, and so much more. And honestly, the combat is very easy to grasp, and it does honestly give you very little challenge. It's not very hard, for the first several hours or even half of the game. But towards the end of the game, it definitely ramps up. And while it is a simple, combat system, it's still fun nonetheless. There are many side games and quests that you can do to deepen relationships, but one that I found interesting and admittedly still don't fully understand but find fun is the card game known as Sakura Wars, which, you can unlock this game after certain quests that you do in the main story, and you will be able to go and access it from the main menu to play at any time from that point onwards. The game is hard to explain, but it's addicting in nature as it's mainly about stacking cards to similar themes and getting your opponent to a number of 0. And just think of the tribal card system from Final Fantasy VIII, or the card system in Final Fantasy IX, or even Gwent. You'll get an understanding as to what it's similar to. You can pick from any of the main cast to play against as well, just so you know. Now, graphically, the game looks good and can at first look like it's a Persona game with similar visuals and animations. However, there are differences in the characters in Sakura Wars because they are animated in a 3D style, which, you know, of course, Persona is as well. But look, here's the difference between the two. Persona 5 was originally made for the PlayStation 3 and it upscaled to PlayStation 4, whereas Sakura Wars was made for the PlayStation 4 specifically. So it does have a higher end look to it, more gloss, more animation. It just looks current gen in my eyes. This is my opinion. So the next thing I want to talk about is the designs of the characters, as they're done by Bleach's mangaka Tite Kubo. They all look awesome, if not as if they were pulled straight from the world of Bleach itself. From the Imperial Combat Review's Flower Division in Tokyo, such as Kamiyama, Sakura, Charis, HATSUHO, Anastasia, Ninja Baby, aka Azami, and more, they all look amazing and are well animated with their facial expressions, their body language, the clothing. Everything is just incredibly detailed in its anime aesthetics. And so, you know, even though it's not so much as a realistic level of detail, you know, it still looks good for what it is. The backgrounds look incredibly vibrant and brought to life with a parallel of colors used. The screen transitions between areas from the theater to the market and more use the same transitions that are in a Persona 5 and 5R and look really, really cool here. There's tons, and I mean tons, of fan service, and I'm all for it, honestly. My favorite girl is Anastasia with her voluptuous figure and sultry, seductive, and elegant personality and voice and cadence and oh my god, she just makes me gush. She is my ideal woman, and following her is HATSUHO with her brash and rumble personality, and man, she just looks good. And following that would be Charis, which is the girl next door, and you know, she got that kind of feel to her. And then following her is Sakura, which is your, you know, typical shonen female lead and your all-arounder. I mean, can't go wrong with Sakura at all. She is one of the main characters. But with that being said, the designs of the mechs and enemies are either hit or miss. As the mechs, they all look incredible and very shonen style, but you know, when it comes to the enemies, well, that's more of a, well, you know, more often a miss than a hit, with some enemies looking amazing and others looking like they were just pulled from the PlayStation 2 era. You know, I could dive into how good and how rough some enemies look, but I'll just say some look really bad, and honestly, just play the game yourself. You know, with them, as much as you're going to be doing, you're probably not going to focus that much on it anyways. Now, when it comes to the OST, the audio, good God, it slaps. The main theme of this game is so energetic, and it just gets your blood pumping that I can listen to it over and over and over and never get tired of it. Gek Taikoko Kage Kidan Shin Sho. I hope I said that correctly. Sorry if I offended anyone. I'm not. I tried. Anyway, it's so majestic of a theme that I find myself breaking out into song whenever I hear it, and even when I don't know what they're saying, as it just comes off as so iconic. The soundtrack is always so great, with even the metal OST of common areas you traverse really sounding thematic where you are. And you know what? When situations are tense in cutscenes or in battle, the music ramps up significantly, and it is awesome. The voice acting is all in Japanese with subtitles, so if you're someone who enjoys the dub, or you enjoy dub as a whole, then you may be disappointed. I personally have zero issues with this, as the voice actors do a bang-up job in their roles, and from the inflections, delivery, tone, cadence, and all, it just comes together so very well. The voice actors for Anastasia does so well with bringing her character to life with sensuality and sultriness, whereas the voice actress of HATSUHO does so well with showcasing her hot-headed, overreacting demeanor. And it's so good. Even, you know, and Charis, she just comes off as so innocent with this dark, mysterious past. Like, it's so delivered well that I just love it. You know what? This may not seem like much, but in reality, it brings the characters to life and makes them seem a lot more tangible. And I like that. Now, as far as the downsides go, The only thing I can honestly say is this goes against more, this is more towards Sega and the series as a whole. And that's just given that this entry in the West is just called Sakura Wars. There's no additional subtitle, there's no additional context, and look, this is not a reboot of the franchise, and it's not a remake of the original entry either. And the titling of this has caused some confusions, as many content creators and journalists have incorrectly reviewed this entry as a reboot, remake, reimagining, and not realizing that this is a continuation following Sakura Wars 5 of Sakura Wars So Long My Love. This is honestly an issue when it comes to the gaming industry as a whole, because they'll localize games to the West, and like instances of what we've seen with Final Fantasy in the early 90s, and even the Persona series that has recently removed the Shin Megami Tensei naming as a Persona 4 Golden. And while I understand that this is done to not confuse Western audiences, it ultimately does the opposite of what its intended purpose is. So look, Sega, gaming industry, stop changing the names, and also bring more Sakura Taisen to the West. I want more. Lastly, I'd say that the lack of an English voiceover option can be considered a letdown to some who prefer listening to characters in English instead of reading the dialogue. But this is overall personal preference of the gamer and not an actual complaint to say. Now, wrapping everything up, putting a bow on top, and presenting it to you with an incredibly engaging story, decades of lore to dive into, lovable characters, relationship building, mech combat, multiple endings, and more. Sakura Wars is a game with so much replay value that I can't help but recommend it to anyone who has a love for narrative-based games and want to be immersed into a rich world of characters and lore. If you're not a person who enjoys reading, relationship building, or lack of combat, then this game, it won't be for you. However, there's always exceptions to the rule. And if you're someone like me who's never gotten into the franchise and absolutely fell in love with this entry, and now I have a fostered desire to go back and play the earlier entries, then I think that this game is something that you need in your collection. And I think it would surprise you if you give it a go. Put a couple hours into the game, at least more than 2 to 5 hours, so you can actually play the combat and get a grasp of the story of the characters and build a relationship with them, because I think this is a phenomenal game. I think it's a gem. I think this is going to be a hidden gem for 2020, and I hope that people give it a try and they don't sleep on it. But that's my opinion. And with that being said, guys, that wraps up the review for Sakura Wars for the PlayStation 4. Shout out to Sega for sending me a review copy of this game. And I know I'm about a week or a week and a half late with getting the review out, and everyone else has already had their reviews out. But you know what? It's not about when the review comes out all the time. Sometimes it is. It's more so about, putting out that quality. I spent a lot of time with this game. I spent countless hours, dozens upon dozens of hours with this game. I've come to love the characters. I've come to love the story. I've come to now have a desire to go back and play the originals. Even if I have to go and learn Japanese to play it, I will definitely do so, because I think this is a game that you just simply can't pass up. And even if you're not into dating, relationship, mech, musou style games, this game is going to surprise you. I admit I was not the most I've done with dating style, choices in games has come with being like, Mass Effect. And to find out that Mass Effect and all the games that have these open-ended dating mechanics actually start with Sakura Taisen for the Sega Saturn, it was a game that brought all that on. It was amazing to find that out. Like, just diving into the Sakura Taisen series has just been so fun, and I think you guys would absolutely love it. But look, this is my opinion. I think it's a game you need in your collection. I think it's something you would enjoy, but I could be wrong. What are your thoughts? Why don't you guys tell me what you think? Let's get the conversation going down below in the comment section. As always, I just like to tell people, play games for yourself. Whether it's you're listening to me as a content creator or other content creators, journalists, or whoever, the ultimate choice when it comes down to spending your money, your hard-earned money, on games that you enjoy should be based on decisions. Be informed, study, research everything, and then also try games yourself. It's just something that I feel like a lot of people in this current generation of gamers don't do, is try games for themselves. They go off of reviews, and you know, it's unfortunate. Try something yourself, figure it out for yourself, figure out, because you know, what I like may not be what you like may not be what I like. And honestly, some games that the critics, Metacritic score and all that would say are terrible, you might actually end up loving. So with that being said, it's, you know, play games, just play games. And again, thank you to Sega for sending a review copy to me. If you guys want to get the conversation going beyond the comment section, we do have a Discord community open to anyone. We got people from the gaming industry, tech industry, voice actors, other content creators, and people who just love games and having a good time. We just got one rule: no drama, no nonsense, have fun, be respectful, and have fun. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Consider becoming a channel member if you want to have more behind the scenes access and looks at to what's going on further with the channel. We also have Patreon, patreon.com/MikelKasanova, which also helps not only with the channel, but with the Twitch streams. It also helps with the podcast and everything that goes into this channel, because whatever you invest into me, I reinvest into the channel. And on top of that, you know, yeah, that's it. That's all the plugs that I honestly have. You know, check me out on Twitch. I stream there. I also stream here on YouTube, but more so on Twitch because of things going on with YouTube and demonetization. But with that being said, that's it. That's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next one. Deuces wild, too sweet, be the elite. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. And since you made it here, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you enjoyed it. And you can always check out MikelKasanova.com. If you want to support the content, we've got Patreon, as well as channel memberships and super chats. And with that being said, this is Mikel Kasanova. I enjoy you guys. I hope you have a great one. Mahalo, and see you next time.